Welcome to Irish Football Weekly, where we talk Notre Dame football here on The Grueling Truth. My name is Josh Benjamin, just one of the hosts here. My co-host, Tony Hunter, a former tight end of the Irish teams from 1979 to 1982. He's also drafted in the first round by the Buffalo Bills in the 83 draft. You can also catch us each week on our website, thegruelingtruth.net. You can also find us on Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, Google Music, iHeartRadio. We also have an app, Grueling Truth Sports Network, if you have an iPhone. You can also find us on Spotify, too, so multiple places to find our annoying voices talking Notre Dame football. All right, so before we get started, Tony, I want to just throw the condolences and prayers out to anyone affected by Hurricane Michael down in the southern part of the United States. So prayers to them, and hopefully recovery comes soon.
Absolutely. That's a nasty-looking storm, Josh, and I wish them well.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in here, Tony. Let's talk about last week's. I think it's a big win. Any game that you win is big, especially if you're trying to stay undefeated. Notre Dame over Virginia Tech. It was big. It was a high-scoring game, and let's jump right in.
Oh, absolutely, Josh. You know what? I was really inspired by a couple of things that happened during that game, but I was really glad to see, first of all, that Notre Dame won the game, but to see Dexter Williams have a breakout game and Miles Boykin, two talented guys that I think, if we really want to win a national championship, they're going to have to be at the top of their game against the Alabamas and people like that of the college football world. But I think we finally got a chance to see what Dexter Williams has the ability to do, and also Miles Boykin. I was just really happy to see those guys playing the type of football that they're capable of playing.
Well, to touch on their stats, so Dexter Williams had 17 carries for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a 97-yard touchdown run, so about half of that goes to that 182, which he's averaging 10.5 per carry. He's just been such a game changer since he's been back. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Josh, and we've been doing this show now for a couple of years, but I've been mentioning Dexter Williams' name, if you remember.
Absolutely.
I've always liked his talent, and 10 yards a carry, that's unbelievable. But even when Josh Adams was a starter and was in Heisman contention at one point, I still like Dexter Williams, just the upside of him. I just think the guy, he's running hard, and he's showing the type of speed, the speed right now that I think future college defensive coordinators are going to have to take a second look at. And also, I think NFL scouts are going to really take a look at him because of his speed and his power. I think he runs hard. I think he has excellent breakaway speed.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And it's going to be a couple things with Dexter Williams from here on out. One, teams are going to basically game plan around him and try to stop him first and make other guys beat their defense, in my opinion. And, they're going to find ways to get Dexter the ball, of course, and they'll realize real soon in the game when they see, Dexter trying to be taken out of that game, which they tried to do a couple times. But, Dexter, like you said, like you've been with him on his side for a long time now, and he has produced.
Glad to see him doing well. I talk with his mom sometime on Facebook. We chat back and forth, but she was really excited the way he was playing, and it's been a long haul for them. He's had to take some time and sit on the sideline and not play and cheer his teammates on, and he's getting his chance to shine, and I'm glad to see him taking advantage of it, taking full advantage of it. The only thing I haven't seen a lot of, they don't throw it to him very much out of the backfield. I haven't seen a lot of that, and that's going to be a big component as far as being an NFL top-tier running back, whether or not he's able to catch the football. And hopefully they'll start to mix in some little flare patterns for him and let him catch the football. Another thing, Miles Boykin. Oh, big, strong, talented wide receiver. He had his breakout game. 8 catches, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 yards a catch. Hey, that's a strong game for a receiver. Very strong game for a receiver. And now, so their confidence should be up. Both guys, their confidence should be up. And Ian Bach should have a lot of confidence and throwing and getting the football to those guys. So, not to jump ahead of things, we have a bye week, which will give those guys a chance to rest coming up this weekend. But they should have confidence going into the next week and continue to play the type of football that they're playing right now. And I tell you what, if they do, the sky's the limit for Notre Dame football this year, Josh.
Yeah, and a couple of things come to mind. Well, when you talked about Dexter and his mother and talking to them on Facebook, I just want to give a shout out to our listeners and our followers on Facebook. If you're not one of our followers, you can follow us on Facebook, Irish Football Weekly. You search that, definitely click the like button and follow there, and you see a lot of different things going on, a lot of interaction with our fans and listeners, and through those groups we interact quite a bit on our own Facebook accounts as well. And also follow me on Twitter at CoachJB4, so some things going on that social media piece. But to go back to what you had to mention about Miles Boykin, it seems like him and Ian Book are on the same page. It seems like they are very fluent with what they're doing and very just knowing where they're going to be and when, which is outstanding to have. And I go back to what I said about Dexter Williams and how defenses are going to game plan it, towards him and try to take him out of the game so others can beat them. And so I think that's going to happen with Miles Boykin too. He's a phenomenal athlete, made some great catches that Ian threw around him, and that's all you essentially have to do with Miles Boykin because he's got some great hands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he's a big guy, big, strong receiver. He's a handful for most of those small cornerbacks to handle because of his size, and he has good speed. I just wanted to mention also Chris Fink had 3 catches for 71 yards, 23 yards a catch, which is an excellent day for a receiver. But, the defensive coordinators that they face down the stretch here, they're going to have to really take an extra look at Miles Boykin and Dexter Williams because there's some really talented guys, and they present a lot of problems with that speed, that size of Boykin, and their big play capability.
And to touch about the Virginia Tech defense, so they were one of the top 5 teams in the country defensive-wise in giving up rushing yards, in which obviously they gave up 182 to Dexter Williams alone, but they only gave up 20 other rushing yards the whole time, which is outstanding. So I think teams are going to see that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say teams are going to watch and see that and see how they utilize those other running backs or those rushing attacks by those other guys and go off of there because, Dexter Williams obviously had the majority, I would say close to 90% of the rushing yards. So definitely they're going to key off of him. So.
And if you look at that 98-yard run that Dexter had, it wasn't like he had a big gaping hole. He chose a good path to go through, and then it was just flat-out speed. So, and it wasn't the defense. I don't think it was the defense for Virginia Tech, or lack of defense. And actually, I think going into the third quarter, the score was it was a pretty good game. It was a close game. It was 17-16, I believe, when they started the third quarter. So put up that many points to wind up with 45 points at the end of that game. Notre Dame's offense is definitely explosive.
And I want to touch on Ian Book for just a second, Tony. So when I was watching the game on Saturday, obviously the first half, it was 17-16, like you said. And it was a little bit of struggle back and forth, a little bit of hidden yardage with special teams and whatnot. But people on Facebook, Tony, fans of Notre Dame football, were kind of bashing Ian Book a little bit, like, let's see Wimbush get back in there. Let's, he's struggling. We knew this was going to come up sometime. We got to get Brandon back in. And
you know
and
what?
It's so
They've
silly.
always said.
I was just going to say, it's just so silly. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
My entire football career, they said the most popular guy on the team or in the locker room is the backup quarterback because he's not in there playing. And that's the truth. The most popular guy in every locker room that I've been in is always the backup quarterback because he's the guy that hasn't had a chance to make any mistakes out there, and everybody thinks the world of him, thinks he's going to be a good one. But Ian Book, I thought he played well. 25 of 35, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 pick. I thought he had a solid performance. I like the guy. I like his field generalship. Got a strong arm, really strong arm. And the thing I've really been surprised about with him is his ability to get out of trouble, his quickness in the pocket. He has good speed. He has good speed and good quickness, and that surprised me a little bit about Ian Book.
Yeah, I'm actually going to jump a little bit to a different angle here. So it was 17-16 at halftime, and then all of a sudden the Irish score 14 points in the third and then 14 more in the fourth, and it was pretty much ball game because it seems like that the offense and defense of either coordinators or with Brian Kelly or the coaching staff in general gets together at halftime, makes solid adjustments, and then what does the defense do? They hold them to 7 points in the second half, and the offense scores 28. So I think that's outstanding for a couple of reasons. One, that the coaches can come together, see the differences, make those changes, and execute them properly with those players believing in what's happening. And I think that's what's powerful about this season so far is those players are believing in their coaches and vice versa, and they're being able to go out there and make those plays by being coachable.
Right. Oh, definitely. Oh, our defense is they're playing championship football, I think. And, I think, like I said, the Alabamas of the world, the Clemsons, those teams, I think right now they're kind of looking at Notre Dame in a different light because the caliber of athletes that are out there on that field right now making plays for Notre Dame could play anywhere, could play at Alabama, could play at Clemson. And I don't know if that's been the case for most of the past, I would say, 10, 15 years maybe. But and kudos to Coach Kelly for that because he's really upped his game as far as the recruiting is concerned. We're getting guys that are playing that can play at a very high level and that could play at other top tier schools in the country.
Definitely. And going along with what we said about the defense, they had 5 pass breakups, an interception, quite a few tackles for loss, a couple sacks. And it just seems like that defense, whatever is being said or whatever is being done, they're doing it as a unit, as a complete, fundamentally sound unit, and making sure that each of them do their job to the best of their ability. And I just think it's outstanding to watch that happen. I think it's great.
Yes, and they're playing physical, Josh. They're playing physical. And I know I saw I just felt like a couple of times the running backs and the receivers really didn't from Virginia Tech really didn't want to mix it up the way Notre Dame's defense was getting after them. So they were playing an intimidating. They've been playing an intimidating physical style of football pretty much all year. So they need to keep that going. Because as we start playing the better teams, you're going to start to see more speed. You're going to start to see a lot more speed, and we come up against that every year against the Clemsons and the Alabamas and people like that. But as long as they're playing physical, that levels the playing field. So as long as our defense keeps playing physical, I like us against anybody.
Absolutely. And they come home this week and play a Pittsburgh team at home at 2:30. Of course, that's on NBC, but they play a Pittsburgh team that is hungry. They have a couple starters out, but is this a definition of a trap game right before the bye week? Is this a trap game for the Irish? What do you think, Tony?
I guess it could be. It could be. We had such a good game last week, such an impressive game last week. But I don't think so. I think right now I think we sit at number 5 in the country. 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep, number 5. Yeah.
There's a lot to play for. There's a lot to play for, and I think we played our best game last week. I think we played our best game both offensively and defensively, and I think those guys will come out and ready to play football, and it's at home. It'll be exciting. It'll be a packed house as usual. No, I don't think there'll be a letdown. I really don't. Not at home. Not at home.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that there's so much on the line to the fans, the students behind the actual team, coaches. Everyone is pushing forward. And the best thing about this is, and I hope that Brian Kelly and that staff's taking this advantage and saying, let's just get better each week. Let's work on what we didn't do right this time, continue to do those strengths even better, but also those weaknesses, whatever that is, whether it's pass coverage, whether it's blocking, tackling, etc. It may be simple things, it may be situational things, but I think that each game they can definitely take away something and utilize that as fuel for the next game, because anyone can get beat. I know the cliches, the trap game, anyone can beat are so vanilla and bland, but unfortunately, some of them are true at times. And so taking this Pittsburgh game at home, which it's in the middle of the season, it's right before a bye week, guys want to get rested up and be off for a week, or 2 weeks, I should say, and so that they, from a game at least. But I think that it's important that they reiterate those small things. So I hope that they stay focused, which I don't doubt that by any means. But I want them to come out fired up, just like they're playing the number 7 team in the nation, or the number 24 team in the nation, etc. So I think there won't be a letdown, but I just think they gotta continue to get better and think like that, not be satisfied by any means. So
right. I've heard that too. That this could be a trap game because Pittsburgh, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. But I don't see Notre Dame letting down right now with so much going for them, and so much on the line. So actually, in fact, as a player, I would think it would be thinking, hey, this may be a good time to pad some stats this week.
That's a good point.
Let me have another 8-10 catch game or whatever, and put me in the national standings for most catches during the year or for a game or something like that. That's basically, man. This is a good time to go out there and have another great game.
That's a very good point. That could be something that they're hungry for. So definitely another big game for the Irish. We're going to go ahead and jump into the 3 toughest picks, Tony. I want you to know things have changed in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying, okay?
I know. Are you ahead of me yet?
I am. I moved ahead of you. So folks, I flew solo last week, did the show, and I actually revealed the prior week's 3 toughest picks. I went 3-0. Tony went 0-for, and now I'm in the lead. I'm 8-7, which isn't by any means a great record.
Wait a minute. But I didn't even participate last week.
No, the week before, Tony.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do that to you. I see what you tried to do there. That's hilarious. I see what you tried to do.
Right.
Yeah. So I revealed last week. Well, we got some really tough games. They're all within the top 17 in the nation. So, but you're 7-8, I'm 8-7. Here's our first game. It's a big SEC matchup. Number 2 Georgia travels to number 13 LSU.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I know. I agree.
I'm going to go with Georgia.
Right.
I'm going to go with Georgia.
Okay. I'm going to take Georgia as well. They're just good. I don't know how they would compare with Bama, but I know they're just solid right now, and they got them running, on all cylinders with what they're doing, and the players are believing in it, and that's what's powerful. So I pick Georgia as well. Number
LSU's
7.
kind of up and down. LSU's
What's that? I'm sorry.
LSU's kind of up and down, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They just lost to Florida. So and Florida's ranked. So there's a lot of turnover, a lot of beating each other, type of things going on in the SEC right now. But yeah, LSU is kind of wishy-washy, but it is at home, so you kind of give them the favor a little bit. But Georgia, I think, in my opinion, is just too good at this point. So
yep, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. And the next game we got here is number 7 Washington travels to number 17 Oregon.
Ooh. Yeah, it's tough playing out there in Oregon. It's tough to go out there. I'm going to go with Washington, though. I'm going to go with Washington.
Okay. You take Washington. I had penciled in Oregon because they had a big goof up a couple weeks ago with Stanford. They could have closed the game out. I watched that. It was heartbreaking.
Right.
I think they're going to shore it up and beat Washington here this week at home. So the last matchup, yeah, it definitely will be interesting. It'll be a good game for sure. But the last game we got here is a Big Ten matchup. Number 15 Wisconsin travels to number 12 Michigan.
Ooh, in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Going to Ann Arbor. Well, Wisconsin has kind of disappointed me this year so far, though. They lost to BYU at home on a field goal. Yeah, they're kind of spiraling out of control. So, and Jim Harbaugh, man, he needs to. I'll tell you what, he needs to pick it up. I'm going to go with Michigan at home.
Yeah, I think he's kind of on the hot seat a little bit. He's got to finish in the top 10, I think, to maybe keep his job. I don't know, but it just seems
What's their record right now? Do you have any idea what their record is right now?
Off of hand, no. Let me try to look that up real quick. But I know that basically Michigan and what he's doing there, he definitely has to kind of win out there and do well, essentially, against Ohio State and everyone else. So let me pull it up here.
Ohio State is rolling. Ohio State looks great. And
yeah, they definitely do.
I don't think he's going to beat Ohio State this year, and he hasn't beat Ohio State the whole time he's been at Michigan. That can't sit well.
Definitely
with
not.
The Michigan brass, and Michigan State has become competitive with Michigan, and that's I can't remember that ever being the case. We'll see.
Well, Michigan.
Michigan's
5-1. I just looked it up. Michigan is 5-1. So they lost the first game to Notre Dame, and they just rattled off 5 wins. But
okay, we're good. Excellent.
I think from the games here on out are do or die for them. But we'll find out. We'll see how Wisconsin fares with
I'm surprised that Harbaugh is struggling so much because I saw him. I think his dad was at Western Kentucky, which is not far. He was at Western Kentucky. He and I think his brother went down to Western Kentucky and helped his dad out. And those guys were up in Cincinnati picking out talent like you wouldn't believe, guys. And they got on that Western Kentucky team. That team they started to become a power nationally. They were beating some really good teams every year while he was there. So I thought he would go to Michigan and really recruit well and just have that program rolling. Well, he's 5-1 right now, so maybe he's trying to turn the corner.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that matchup this weekend. I'll probably turn and watch that a little bit too. But we move on. We move to our favorite part, Irish prediction time. I'm going to jump ahead and go with what I have here because I'm very, very confident in what's going to happen this week. And I think the Irish are going to roll over Pittsburgh 42-10. Offense is they're going to be on fire. The defense is going to play even better. They may even score, which I mentioned that last week, that the defense would score there against Virginia Tech. But I think it's going to be a big game, and obviously they're going to come out and want to put it away real quick.
Yeah. You know what? I think Ian Book is locked and loaded and ready to let that football go again. He had 2 TDs last week. I think he's ready to put up some big numbers. They put up 45 last week. So I'm gonna say we're gonna score 40 points again. We're gonna score 40 points, and our defense is gonna hold steady and only give up 17 points. 40-17.
All right.
Irish.
All right. Good deal. We've got similar views on that, and so I think they come out with a win pretty easily this week. But well, Tony, it's about that time. We just want to thank our listeners for listening to our awesome show, Irish Football Weekly. Don't forget to check out our website, listeners, thegruelingtruth.net, which has multiple shows, not just ours, but tons of other sports, awesome writers as well. But you can also listen on Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. If you have an iPhone, you definitely can get the Grueling Truth Sports Network app and get that and subscribe as well. You can also find us on social media, like I said before, on Facebook. Search Irish Football Weekly to like and follow and see those things going on. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at CoachJB4. Tony, for my co-host, Tony Hunter, this is Josh Benjamin signing off for Irish Football Weekly. Go Irish! Peace.
Go Irish.